Now today I'm going to show you 3 very easy, simple and quick breakfast recipes that you can prep beforehand. It takes you 5 minutes to whip out the fridge and eat. And this is going to enable you to not only lose fat, but actually feel good in yourself. Things like cereals, pastries, breakfast bars. The thing that all of these things have in common is that it's so low in protein, so low in fibre. You're going to be starving by the time it gets to 10 a.m. and you're not going to have any energy all morning. So before further ado, let's get into it. So a lot of the time when we hear of a breakfast burrito, I just think of a really overwhelming recipe that's going to take me 5 hours to make. But with this one, I've cracked the code. It takes you 2 seconds to put together and you're going to be left with a really, really tasty recipe that you're going to be able to eat every single morning. So starting off, we just need a tin of some sort. I just use a loaf tin, it seems to be the perfect size. We're then going to start off by oiling that up. Then we need to get into cracking everything in. We've got ourselves 3 eggs, and this is a really good protein source and fat source as well. A lot of people think that when they're losing fat, they have to cut out whole eggs and just eat egg whites, but that is not the case at all. What I like to do is combine whole eggs with egg whites, and it gives you the perfect mixture of getting the fat source from the eggs, but also the protein source from the egg whites without having too many fats. So what we're going to do is have 3 whole eggs along with 2 egg whites. Now we're moving on to our veggies. Now, not only is this going to give us flavour, it's going to give us volume, but it's also going to give us a load of fibre. You can vary it up every single week. So if you try to get a lot more variety in your nutrients and grains, one week you could have peppers, tomatoes and spinach, the next week you could have green beans, broccoli and sweet corn. Like, you can literally mix it up however you want with however much you want in there. So top tip, simply just going to chop up half of red pepper. Doesn't matter how it looks, it's all going down the same hole. Then we've got ourselves a handful of tomatoes. Just gonna get the eggs all whisked up. Whack those veggies straight into the egg. And then to add even more protein, we're gonna pop in some chicken. If you're a veggie, you could maybe throw some like tofu in there, some beans, some lentils. We are gonna add in 100 grams of chicken. If you want to be tactile about this, you could pre-make your chicken. You know from previous videos what my meal prep chicken looks like. You can start by making that at the start of the week and then you can whack it in whatever recipes you want. And last but not least, we need to spice this shit up. We've got my classics. Some salt, pepper, paprika, lazy chilli, and lazy garlic. Give her one last stir together, make sure every little bit is getting all the spices and everything involved. We're gonna pop her straight in the oven and she's gonna be going on for about 30 to 40 minutes. Straight in there on about 190 to 200 degrees. We'll come back when that's ready. So, omelette bake is done, and are you seeing how big this is for the amount that we've got? This only serves 2 people, so we've got half of that each in each wrap, which is just insane. We're gonna make our high protein sauce that's gonna go in the wrap. We've got our Greek yogurt and sriracha. So 50 grams of the Greek yogurt goes in there, along with 10 grams of sriracha. Give that a nice mixy together. Then last step is to get our wraps. Now, as I said, most important thing here is high protein, high fibre. So I've made a little bit of a swap and swapped white wraps for wholemeal wraps. And the difference here is 4 grams of fibre, which is actually quite insane. So wraps down, dollop of protein spread on each, spread that around. Then we're gonna grab our omelette, split that down the middle. We're gonna whack one in one wrap and the other in the other wrap. And we're just gonna whack it in some foil. And then when you're ready to eat it, this is what the bad boy will look like. Look at that. Imagine being in a rush on a morning, but you know you've got this in the fridge waiting for you. Absolutely delicious. Okay, next one, if you know me, if you're an OG on this channel, you'll know exactly what I'm about to make here. My brownie batter overnight oats. I will categorically say that this recipe has changed my life. It's got loads of protein, loads of fibre. It literally keeps your belly full for the entire morning. Like, I am not hungry until like 1 p.m. and I have this at like 7, half 7. So we're gonna start off with oats. This is a really good slow release carb, meaning it's not just gonna spike our blood sugars straight away and go all the way back down, similar to what like cereal does. We've then got these bad boys. Chia seeds, flax seeds. What this is going to give us is our fibre. Now, every man and the dog are so obsessed with protein, but we need to start and become a little bit more obsessed with fibre. It helps our gut in more ways than you know. It helps with digestion, it helps with keeping the gut flowing, it helps with gut health, gut microbiome, diversity, everything. You need to get more fibre in your diet. Not only is this going to give us fibre, but it's going to give us that really nice cakey kind of texture with the overnight oats. So we've got carbs, we've got fibre. Next up is our protein source. Now, I use the vegan protein for my protein. This will differ if you use whey protein. Reason being is vegan protein is a lot thicker, so you might need to use lower amounts of liquid if you are using whey protein, but it will still work. You just need to kind of test the recipe out, and I'll show you what the consistency should look like at the end. We're going to whack in 30 grams of protein powder. Obviously try and have a whole foods diet as much as possible, but if you need a little bit of help from protein here and there, like, it's not going to be the end of the world. Then to make this chocolatey, to hit our chocolate fix on a morning, we're going to have some cocoa powder. You can use chocolate protein powder if you do have that in your cupboards, but I have actually run out, so I'm just going to use vanilla and cocoa powder. So we're going to need 5 grams of cocoa powder, and then also 5 grams of the cacao nibs. Now, for me on a morning, I don't really want to be shoving like chocolate chips down my throat. If you want to, you can, but it just doesn't sit on my stomach very nice in the morning. So cacao nibs are a really nice kind of alternative to that. So we've got our base dry ingredients in there. All we need to do now is add the liquids. I use a coconut plant-based milk just because I don't eat dairy, but you can use normal milk, whatever floats your boat. We're gonna add in, if you are using the vegan protein, we're gonna add in 100 ml of milk and 100 ml of water. And all we're gonna do is give that a good mix together. You want to be getting this type of consistency. It's like a brownie batter. If you were making a brownie with your grandma, this is the type of consistency that we're looking for. And the last thing that we're gonna add, which is gonna top it all off, it's gonna be the cherry, literally the cherry on top of the cake. We're gonna add in some fruit. So frozen fruit should be a staple in your kitchen, in your pantry. It's so convenient to whack into things like this. It's gonna give us volume, but it's also gonna give us the golden thing that I love, fibre. So we're gonna pop in a handful of each, give that a nice mix together. We're gonna pop the lid on, and then we're going to take it over to the fridge. Now, it is overnight oats, but that's quite a lie because it doesn't need to be in overnight. It can be in for about 2 hours, but if you want to make it easy for yourself, just put it in overnight. And by the way, if you do absolutely love overnight oats and you're thinking, I need 12,000 more flavours of this, I do have 3 more flavours in another video. I'll link it up here, so if you do want to dive straight into them, you can. But go and check that out, and we'll get on to the next recipe. Okay, next up we've got our protein American pancake stack. Now, the cool thing about this is that it has no protein powder in. So if you are someone who doesn't like to use protein powder for whatever reason, you can still get your protein in with this recipe. So we're gonna start off with our trusty old blender. And basically the method goes like this. Whack it all in. So, ingredients wise, we have got some oats along with some plain flour. Now, obviously I was talking about fibre. If you do want more fibre, you could grab yourself some wholemeal flour. I couldn't find any in the shop though, so if you do manage to find some, then you could go ahead and use some wholemeal flour. We then got the thing that I feel like everyone seems to have like a love-hate relationship with, and that is cottage cheese. Now, you can't taste it in this recipe. It's not going to taste like clumpy cottage cheese, but the thing that cottage cheese does have a lot of is protein, which, as you know, that's what we need to keep us full of longer. So we're gonna whack in 120 grams of the cottage cheese. We've then got 4 eggs, but we're adding a whole load of other ingredients that's gonna help us with our fat goals. One more thing we're gonna add in here into the actual mixture is our chia seeds. As you know, fibre is gonna help our gut. It's gonna help us keep us full of longer as well and hit our daily fibre goals. So we're gonna add 10 grams of the fibre of the chia seeds in there. 10 grams of honey to sweeten it all up. And last but not least, because these are American pancakes, we're gonna need some baking powder just to help them rise and become really, really fluffy. And now, all we need to do is blend this bad boy up. Okay, so pancake batter is blended. It should be looking like this sort of consistency, nice and thick for the American style pancake. So all we're gonna do now is come over to my hob, and we're gonna get started on cooking these bad boys up. So first of all, we need to get our oil in there. Get a spray oil. I use this 100% pure avocado oil. It's much better for when you spray in like a pan rather than normal oil. You just get way more bang for your buck and you don't have to use as much. So just spray that all over the surface of the pan. and allow that to just heat up for a minute or so, just to make sure the pan gets super duper hot. Then we're gonna grab the batter with a little spoon and just get some dollops on there. We want it to still be thick, but still big. So you wanna kind of get it on like that and continue doing this until all the batter's gone. We're gonna grab our mix-ins. So today we're gonna be using some dark chocolate chips. So all we're gonna do is get a couple, sprinkle it into the batter as that's just cooking away. Big trick when you're making pancakes, you wanna make sure that the bubbles are coming through, so you'll start and see like really little holes coming through on the pancakes. When that starts to get a bit more fiery, then you know the pancake's ready to turn over. And that is the pancakes done. Are we seeing how unbelievable these look? We've got the chocolate oozing out of them, but they are packed with protein. This serves 4 altogether, so we're gonna get 3 pancakes per serving. And for that serving, that's gonna be around about 250 calories and about 15 grams of protein. But as we know, we need more than that. We need around about 30 grams of protein per meal if we wanna get that full satiated feeling. So, to make that the case, we're gonna jazz it up with our toppings. First of all, we're gonna make our raspberry jam. Now, if you've seen my previous YouTube videos before, you'll know that this little recipe, this little trick is one of my favorites. First of all, raspberries are so high in fibre on their own. All we're gonna do is mash those up until we get kind of like a liquid. We're then gonna add even more chia seeds to this one, so 5 grams in the jam, and give that a nice mix together. Now, I would prep this at the start of the week so that the chia seeds can kind of like form together in a gel paste with the raspberry to form that like gel. We're just gonna grab 3 of these bad boys, our raspberry chia concoction, and then last but not least, to add that extra 15 grams of protein that we want, we're gonna dollop on there 150 grams of yogurt. And there you've got yourself a banging breakfast. We've not only got the tasty, succulent pancakes that we absolutely crave, but they're filled with protein, fibre, chocolate goodness. We've got our fibre jam that we've pre-made and all the protein goodness from our yogurt. So I think we should shut now and just dig in, because this looks far too good to not dig in. Let's do a taste test. Jesus. That is bloody brilliant. That is 10 out of 10. And you can prep these in the fridge. So you've made these for the week now, pop them in the fridge in a Tupperware. And all you need to do on a morning, dollop the yolk on, get it down you, and it's done. There you go. And there you've got yourself 3 high protein breakfasts that's gonna save you when you're losing fat. And you cannot tell me ever again that you do not have time to have breakfast in the morning, because all of these are meal preppable. You can stick them in the fridge and you can get them out in seconds on a morning. I've got 3 recipe books, 3, with over 100 recipes in, all tailored for fat loss and keeping your hunger levels down. So if you do want that, links in the description box below. Go and grab yourself it today and you can get meal prepping for the next week. But for now, that is it. Go and enjoy your breakfast. Make sure you subscribe so I'll see you next week, and I'll see you all later.